my phone used to ring nonstop. So during the day, I'd get 40 phone calls. And that was a big thing with finding this system that I could then put a full-time employee on 9 to 6 during the week, and my phone doesn't ring unless she doesn't answer or multiple calls are coming in at the same time. So my call volume has gone down significantly. It felt like a huge lift, but then once you go through and do it, and you're like, oh, okay, this isn't so bad. And now my phone doesn't ring nearly as much, and it's a huge relief.
You're asking yourself, why am I doing this?
Smart people would know how to use all these different tools. They
start with something small.
You'll never get your entire organization if you don't pull off operations. Don't give up.
It can be as small as that.
I think you guys are going to have our last today.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome to the Delegate That podcast, where we discuss the art and science of delegation, business management, and leadership. I am your host, Adam Labar, as always. And today I'm looking forward to having a good conversation with Daniel Schiermeyer. Daniel, if you can, I know you got a lot going on, so if you can go ahead and let us know, introduce yourself a little bit and tell us about your businesses.
Yeah, my name's Dan Schiermeyer. Background's a manufacturing engineer, but I fell into real estate. I was working a full-time job, got a car wash and then a storage facility. Hit financial freedom, but needed help in my businesses so that I could focus on them instead of in them, which led me down the route of delegating, hiring different VAs over the years. Just hired a full-time one. So
awesome.
And yeah, now I work for a startup now as well, and I want to dedicate my time to that. So I've had to delegate to keep my businesses running, so I'm not fully involved in them.
For sure. Yeah. And it's one of those things that if you don't, when you do want to start something new, boy, you really got to make sure that your systems and stuff are set up. Now, I'd love to dive in a little bit on how you decided to go from manufacturing engineer to entrepreneur. How did that kind of step work for you? And I'll pause there for a second.
Yeah, I graduated college, went to school for manufacturing engineering, worked for a big corporate company, hated corporate. I say I had a quarter life crisis. Was looking for a better work-life balance, which is what brought me to North Carolina. I worked for a NASCAR team for 6 years, but then I was always like in the personal finance investing. So I started buying single-family rentals, bought a few of those and kept all the old ones as rentals. And then that kind of got me to the commercial space. My brother and I bought a car wash while still working a full-time job. Just looked like a good investment. And then that was doing well. We ended up buying a storage facility as well. And then I started to look at my businesses were performing well. Do I really need to work 60 hours a week at this job? So kind of hit the not full financial freedom, but enough to take a break and just focus on my businesses. So, and then, just got interested in the businesses, the value you can create, and saw what I had created in 18 months of owning two businesses. If I sold them, I would have made more than I made at my job in 6 years. So I was like, I should probably dive into this.
For sure. It's one of those things that once you kind of get that bug and you can kind of see what it can do for you, it's hard to turn away from. It's hard to let that go.
Do you feel overwhelmed with mundane tasks that eat up your valuable time? It's time to reclaim your schedule and focus on what truly matters. Get your time back with elite remote talent without a time zone hassle. Delegate $10 an hour tasks to focus on more $1,000 an hour tasks. Schedule your free strategy call at wisevas.io.
So you talked about doing a startup. What kind of startup do you have going on now?
Yeah. So after I left my W-2 job and was just doing my businesses, I got introduced to another guy that's in the storage space. He's been in the space for years. And he's trying to develop a smart lock for self-storage that has no batteries in it. So I got introduced to him. He told me his idea. My background's in manufacturing, and he was struggling to get a working prototype that could be made. So I was just kind of tinkering, and then I saw the value of it and where it went. So I decided to join the team and help him bring the product to market. I was going to say, but in doing that, I also had to keep my businesses running. So I started putting time into this, which is what made me start to have to delegate.
For sure. Yeah. And it's, I'm very intrigued on a smart lock with no batteries for the storage. I'm going to definitely want to dig into that a little bit. Tell me what that looks like. How does one develop something like that?
Yeah. So a company released, it's called NFC energy harvesting. So it's like Apple Pay, Android Pay. So your phone provides power to the lock. So the software on the phone, the application is really doing all the smart. and then it knows if you can get into that chip or not, and then it'll transfer power. So it's like reverse wireless charging to the lock.
Yeah, I feel like my headphones reverse wireless charge all the time in my pocket, and I lose all of this in there. But to use it for something valuable, that's very good. So, so the as you started kind of developing that, it sounds like that started taking up a majority of your time. So you had to go to the delegation. So talk to me what that has looked like on that transition of delegating more of your business stuff away from you.
Yeah. So first with the car wash takes a lot of attention. It's in a nice area. I don't have any full-time employees. It's a self-service car wash, so people can come and just do their thing. But we pride ourselves on keeping it clean and making sure everything's working. So in that case, it needs attention. So when things break, we can get them fixed. When we took it over, we kind of hired a helper or adopted a helper. But then he went off to college, and then my brother and I were kind of doing it, which was good because we know how to do everything. But then it was taking up my time. I have to drive down there, go by. It could be a 10-minute trip. It could be an hour and a half if something's broken. So I tried to find some help and have them do the walkthroughs that I would do every day. And that it greatly reduced my time of having to be there during the week. So that was the first step. And then kind of on the back end, like accounting wise, I was ending up having to do a bunch of accounting work. And that was where I hired my first VA. It was like a part-time 5 hours a week just to do a bunch of admin tasks for me so that I could then go into my accounting and look at the reports rather than spend 2 hours cleaning them up and getting everything up to date and then looking at them. So that was really the first delegations, kind of the help on site and then kind of on the back end admin. And then same with storage. I mean, even the little things like hiring a landscaper and just building that in when we bought it so that we're not worrying about that and getting help with people to go do overlocks and things like that.
Very cool. Now the accounting side of the house, I'm really interested on the VA side because it's one of those things that a lot of people hate doing their accounting, but they're like, man, I just want my CPA to do it or whatever, and that can get rather pricey. How did you kind of decide on a VA to work on the books for you as opposed to just hiring your CPA or something?
Yeah, so the CPA, it was too much. Like the monthly rate would be too much for the amount of work that I needed. I knew it was really only like a max of 5 hours a week. So I brought her in, and on the car wash, we just have a lot of credit card income. So there's different credit card terminals. They all come into the same place. So it was a lot of just categorizing stuff, but then I could start forwarding invoices to her and she could tie them to the correct transactions. So it was basically, I just recorded on Loom. I said, this is how I do the task, walked her through it, and then she was able to do it. And then the same thing with storage, just recording the deposits that come in every day. And once they get the hang of it, it's basically the same thing to do every week or every month. So it's pretty straightforward.
Now, did you already have, I mean, you said you recorded it on Loom, so it sounds like you already had your own personal process. Was all this already written down, or is that something that your assistant started to write down for you? What'd that look like?
Yeah, no, I was actually on a GoBundance call, I think, and somebody was talking about something, and I sent him a message after. I was like, hey, that looked really cool. And he sent me a Loom, and I was like, what is this Loom? And I'm always doing stuff on my computer, but yeah, I didn't have any systems in place. And I was like, if I try to write it out and explain it, it's going to be hard. And if we just do a call, like she might not take the right notes. And then, so I used that tool, and it's gotten crazy good now that it can write operating procedures and everything based off your video. So as you learn to walk through it and actually just literally talk through all the steps, it writes a pretty good standard operating procedure, but then they always have it as a resource to go back to. For
sure. Yeah. And has your VA found that extremely useful? Is that something that they provided feedback for you on, or how did they take that?
Yeah. Like sometimes I would forget something, or I would have to tell them something afterwards if like I went back and the work wasn't done completely right. And I would just record another one and then just keep them all in one document, kind of label them what they're for. Then they always have it as a resource.
Yeah, one thing that I've found really helpful is to always have it as an ever living document, the SOP. Anytime something changes, just go in there and your responsibility. Whoever finds the thing that needs to be changed, you go in and change it. Like, go ahead and make that happen. So is that something that your VA is already on top of? Make sure that it gets updated and changed and you don't really have to think about it at all? Yeah.
So my first VA, we kind of just had a running document. And I think, like I told you, I just hired a full-time VA to kind of run all the admin and businesses. And we basically just have running documents where I can go update, or I can just title the next, I'll put it right under the other link and say, hey, this is the updated link. So that's been helpful. And yeah, if she ever has questions on anything, instead of doing a video call, I usually just record it but I also record all her video calls as well. So she has that as a reference.
For sure. That's that's a big game changer for folks to be able to just go back to those videos. I still have old videos from 3 VAs ago that I have like, hey, I know that they're going to come in handy for the next one, so I might as well keep them. So now you mentioned before we started recording that you didn't set a whole lot of stuff up before you hired this full-time VA. You kind of almost got caught in a rough place. So how did that look when you hired the new VA on, and what sort of stumbling blocks did you have?
Yeah, so I hired a VA from Latin America. She's in Nicaragua, and she's great. But I didn't even look into it far enough. I have voice over IP phones for my businesses, so one for the car wash and one for storage. I found out once I hired her, I couldn't give her the car wash calls because the app that we were using didn't work out of the country. So I was trying to find an integrated system where I could put all the voice over IPs into, and then have some kind of like chat communication, like a Slack or something like that. I ended up going with Zoom. I didn't know Zoom had an entire workplace. So it has like documents in it. It has a Slack similarity, has tasks that you can do. All the calls are recorded. And it took me, I want to say it probably took 6 weeks after I hired her to get that all set up. So the first 6 weeks, she wasn't able to do as much for me, which is my own fault because I didn't have all the systems in place. And then now that we have it in place, it's much easier to reference. She only has to use one application kind of to manage everything. And it's so much easier to communicate in there.
I've seen a lot of people, they bring on a VA and, to your point, it wasn't entirely done properly. So they think it's the VA's fault and end up firing them thinking, oh, this person just doesn't know what they're doing. How did you kind of start to separate, oh man, I didn't provide the right tools or whatnot, to realize that there were just some training gaps rather than just the person wasn't good?
Yeah, no, like I would have a call with a list of things that I wanted to go through. And at first, like when I first wrote them down, I was like, oh, she's not doing her job the right way. And then in just having the conversation and being able to listen to the phone calls that she was having, I realized some of it was like thought process. So with storage, I have 2 facilities, and I saw she put one of the clients on hold for like 3 minutes. And I was just like, I guess on the call, I was like, what's your thought process when this person calls in? And then I just explained, I was like, hey, if they call in, the first thing I do is ask them their unit number, because then it tells you which facility they're at. So then it tells you what property management system to go to. And with their unit number, then you just have to click on their name and you can pull up their account. So that just gives a sped up process for you to find the information. So then you don't have to put them on hold for 3 minutes. And I just realized, like, I'd never said that out loud, what my thought process was when somebody calls in. So I just explained that to her, and then that's significantly helped her out.
Yeah, I think in leadership in general. So when I was going through some leadership training, and when I was in the military, they made you assign specific tasks to people, and then you had one person had to be like a timekeeper, and you had to tell them specifically to get the passing grade. You had to specifically tell the timekeeper, every 30 seconds, I need you to announce the time, and when we get over this, I need you to do it every 20 seconds or whatever it was that you wanted out of that person. Otherwise, they were like, you didn't give good, clear instructions. And I'm thinking to myself, it took me a while. Even still, sometimes I catch myself going, don't they just know that they should do that? And it's like, no, they don't just know that they should do that. You literally have to lay some of this stuff out, because their brain is not your brain. They haven't experienced all of this stuff. So you've been working in the business. So what kind of headaches did that kind of give you to kind of go, oh my goodness, I didn't even think about all of this stuff. And how much extra work did you feel that brought on to you when that all started to happen?
Yeah. It made me sit down and think a little bit more, because like even when I record a Loom video, I talk and I'm just going through and I'm realizing if I don't explain what I'm thinking or why I'm thinking it, or like why I do this a certain way, then all the information isn't relayed. So then I'm like, why don't you just do it like this? It's because I didn't explain it like that. Even at the car wash, I set up a walkthrough and showed my helpers how to do the walkthrough, but I never explained why. So then when you explain why, it helps them put a little bit more effort into, or they understand what the consequence is. Like a car wash customer has a bad experience or something, then I have to deal with them because they're going to call, and then I have to process a refund. So if you can take care of it and answer these questions, it just kind of it eliminates that.
For sure. And it's, it feels extra stressful at the beginning. You feel like you're doing double the work. But now that all of that is done, how does it feel to kind of have all of those systems in place, that person kind of running and off and doing their own thing now?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, the main reason I hired a full-time VA, we finally got to a point of having enough business, and I actually thought that we had enough work to hire one and keep them busy. Main thing is my phone used to ring nonstop. So during the day, I'd get 40 phone calls. And that was a big thing with finding this system that I could then put a full-time employee on 9 to 6 during the week, and my phone doesn't ring unless she doesn't answer or multiple calls are coming in at the same time. So my call volume has gone down significantly. It felt like a huge lift, but then once you go through and do it, and you're like, oh, okay, this isn't so bad. And now my phone doesn't ring nearly as much, and it's a huge relief.
Yeah. As with hiring anybody, bringing them in, that onboarding is always the hardest part and most important part. So going through that process, making sure they understand. And then afterwards you get that freedom of relief of, man, my phone calls, I'm not answering phone calls 7 times a day anymore. Like it makes a huge difference. So as you're now continuing to kind of build out you've got kind of almost the two businesses on autopilot, the storage and the car wash, and now you're building a startup. What is that looking like on the startup side? What size of your team? What sort of things are you having to do and manage in there?
Yeah, so I'm basically the product lead for the lock. So continuous development, ordering product. We're scaling up, so getting large scales of parts built, making sure that the quality is good. In the beginning, it was a way smaller team, so I was doing everything from sales calls to this. And as our team's grown, we started to grow. Just as a team, we kind of realized people need to kind of sit in their lane to do the best job instead of being pulled a million different ways. So I'm definitely more heavily involved in that, but we have gotten we realize when we get an order of locks, I shouldn't be building locks. My time's not as valuable there. So we realize we hire help, and I can show them how to do it, and then they can build them.
Yeah, use your tech brain instead of the hands-on side of the house. Yeah. So how do you guys foresee this business growing? Is this something that you guys are starting with just your facilities, or is this like going to be like a huge nationwide thing you're trying to push?
Yeah, so we're going nationwide, actually worldwide. Our largest customer is actually in the UK right now. So yeah, we're selling locks to storage operators because the smart lock provides a lot of benefit to them in their operations. So it does automatic overlocking, so you don't actually have to go put a second lock on. You don't have to cut locks for auction because you have access after if the tenant gets put into auction. So yeah, we're just trying to scale, get it out there. We've gone to a bunch of large trade shows to show the product. There's a phone call coming through. So yeah, we're just trying to scale. I see the storage market's huge. There's tons of value. So I'm technically a W-2 employee again, but it's fun. Like I still enjoy it. And I work corporate. I work medium-sized company. I'd never done a startup. And since I was kind of at this financial freedom point, I decided I had the time to take the risk and try it out. And it's
for sure. Yeah. Startups are rough if you don't already have some of that stuff already in place, unless you have some good PE backing or something. But this sounds like it's a fun opportunity and is going to be going some places. So as you guys continue to grow this out, right? You said you're a W-2 employee, but are you going to be like managing a team of people underneath you to be able to make sure that all this gets done, or are you already managing that team?
Yeah, I'm kind of helping manage the assembly crews when it comes in. But yeah, I don't really have any direct reports or anything right now. So I'm kind of focused on the hardware, continuous improvement, and then new product. So, which is kind of like my zone of genius. That's where I have fun. That's what I enjoy doing. So, yeah, we're going to continue scaling it. And I think as it grows, then team members will come in place to do the monotonous things that I do so that I can continue to focus on my zone of genius.
Very good. So as you've kind of transferred from working in a corporate world to then entrepreneurship and now like doing the startup stuff, what are some of the key things that you would say are helpful for folks, especially in the startup thing, that maybe they learn from their W-2 or maybe they learn from entrepreneurship that they're like, hey, this is what I can really apply inside of a startup? Yeah.
I mean, one of the big benefits of actually working in corporate America is there's policies for everything. There's standard operating procedures for everything. Like, literally everything. And then taking that knowledge and bringing it down is super important. Like recording all the steps, that's been super helpful for me. And I think that's what helped me when I got into small business, just like keeping track of data and knowing how to keep track of all the admin things that are going on. Because in corporate America, you're always dealing with emails and keeping track of everything. So I think that knowledge helped me get into this medium-sized company. And then when I bought my businesses, I already had all those admin skills, things, how to keep track of everything, how to set up accounting, all that. So there's a lot of benefits you get from working at a big company that you can bring down.
Yeah, a lot of people don't realize the skills they're learning in their W-2, or, like for my case, the military folks, we try to train them and teach them like the skills that you learned that you don't feel like it's super, applicable to jumping out into business, but it really is if you can kind of just turn your head to it and kind of see the angle that you could take on it. So as you're building this out and you're continuing to try to be the product guy, how do you foresee you working in the delegation side and obviously you said that the building of the lock and whatnot is one thing, but like as this business continues to grow, you're going to have to be pawning off more of your stuff. What sort of things are you really wanting to pawn off soon? What sort of things are you really, maybe pawn off is the wrong word, but allow other people to do so that you could focus on, like you said, your zone of genius? What are those things that you're really trying to let go?
Yeah, so ordering product, so keeping track of all the orders, because we have 3 different variations of locks. It's probably 60 different part numbers. So having to keep track of that, ordering it's kind of a logistics headache, knowing when orders are coming in, and then even just scheduling when parts are coming in to schedule the guys that are actually building it. So like getting somebody that's kind of a lead in assembly that fully understands everything. So then when parts come in, they know where to put everything away and then how to start production.
And have you already set up the SOPs for those so that when you do bring somebody in, it's super easy for them to do?
Yes and no. I've actually used Loom, like I talked about before. You like hook up a GoPro, you can upload the video to it of me just assembling something and talking about all the key factors. We're also, now that we're at a scaling point, kind of working on getting sub-assemblies built so they're delivered to us. Because now that we know we've gone through a few batches of building large orders, we know all the things that can go wrong. So now we feel like we can teach it to a different group and they can just build it, assemble it, partially assemble it, deliver it to us. So our labor cost in the shop goes down. How
do you foresee like AI kind of changing how you are doing your startup and or your other businesses? I already use it pretty frequently. I listen to AI Driven Leader, and it just teaches you how to prompt AI to have good conversations. So last year we purchased another storage facility and had to do a change of ownership and everything. And I just prompted AI. I was like, hey, we bought this. I own this facility already. I bought this one. Help me write a letter. And it took me 5 minutes to write a perfect letter that I could send out to my tenants and just let them know everything that's changing. So I think doing the prompt stuff to help you, what would take you 2 or 3 hours that you can do just having a quick conversation with AI. And then we're also using it in we kind of have a support number. So started to use the conversation or the actual phone AI where you can go in and put a bunch of information in. So as you continue to kind of grow this out, what is your next hire, you think, on your personal business side? You have a full-time VA now kind of running all of that stuff as you continue to try to build that out, or are you just going to kind of let that do its thing now? Yeah, so I think the next hire would be my brother and I are still slightly, I would say, more involved in the car wash than we need to be. And I think I could hire like a part-time maintenance person that can go do a lot of the monthly, quarterly check things that we do. And that same person, if they're local, because all my businesses are local, which is super helpful, I could help them and put them into the storage, if they need to go up there for any reason. So trying to find that person, I think, would give me even more free time to focus on other things. Are you planning to grow those businesses larger? Are you getting more personal self-storages or more personal car washes? If it makes sense, yeah. I'm always looking. The last few years, a lot of things were overpriced and didn't make sense. Always have my eye out. But right now, just kind of sitting on the businesses we have, still have some growth to do there. The car wash has been expanding or just doing better year over year. So kind of focusing on my businesses instead of being in them has helped me grow them. And I still think there's some work to do there. For sure. Yeah. And sometimes it's one of those that you're going to tap out. You're going to hit a max on how much revenue that thing's going to bring in, which gives you a max of who you can hire in. So expansion is the only way to take some of that stuff off your plate sometimes. So it's like growth and pain is the only way to get to freedom sometimes. So, we'll see kind of how that flows for you. Even hiring the full-time VA at first, I was like, I didn't want to pay for it because I was like, I don't think we have enough. Getting a second facility, I was like,
well, we're either going to drown ourselves or we need to do this so that we can focus on them, keep them growing, and let her do the monotonous tasks.
Yeah, for sure.
And it also makes me perform better because I was so busy. Like if I'm getting all these phone calls during the week and I can't answer because I'm tied up with the startup, I'm not doing as good of a job. So she's actually helping the storage business run better because she's there 9 to 6 and can answer the phones and help customers out, where I might not get back to them for 2 hours.
And I mean, multiplying your skills is where it needs to be. And, you know, when you put more butts in seats, especially if they're a high powered VA that knows what the heck they're doing, it's a game changer for you. So if you were to tell somebody directly on their thoughts or on your thoughts, like, hey, I'm thinking about bringing in a VA, I'm thinking about hiring somebody for that. What would you say? What recommendations would you give to somebody who's thinking about bringing on their first VA?
I mean, first, it's just writing down all the tasks you do. Like, what are you actually doing every week? Like, even just like, how long are you spending checking your email? Could you have somebody go through your email and clean it up for you? Take half of that off. And where are you spending your time, and like, how valuable are those tasks? And should you be doing them, or could you put somebody else in place that would free up however many hours a week? And is that valuable for you to have those hours back? And what can you do with that time? So I think it's really recording everything that you do and knowing literally all the tasks that you do can help you make a decision. Like this is a funny one. It's not a VA, but I hired a house cleaner because for me to clean my house is like 2 or 3 hours and I hate doing it. I just hire a cleaner that comes once a month, and it's totally worth the money because I'd rather pay them than spend 3 hours doing it myself.
For sure. And when you look at your time and stress level that takes away from you, like, oh man, it's a no-brainer. I was in the same boat. I had a house cleaner, but then I realized, man, if I just, for the amount of money I pay every month for a house cleaner, I said, I bet you I could find somebody that I could pay hourly to be here a couple times a week. They can clean up the house and do other tasks for me. Like they bring stuff to the mail or, you know, pick stuff up or do different things. And I'm like, this is phenomenal. So that's what I did. So now I've got somebody that's here a couple times a week and helps out a ton, takes a ton of stress off of me and things I don't have to worry about. So highly recommend that sort of stuff that people don't really think about. It's like,
I was going to say that'd be another hire, that like somebody that can just run errands for me. Take your car to go get an oil change, or like little things like that would save me a lot of time and headache as well.
And people don't think about those types of things as eating into their business, but they are, right? They're either eating into your business or eating into your personal time. It's going to be one of the two. Like, so, you know, kind of letting that stuff go. And when I'm running around with 3 kids, that personal time is nice to have because I want to be around my kids. So, but Daniel, it was awesome to kind of hear a little bit about what you have going on. I'm really looking forward to seeing how the batteryless automatic lock thing goes. I love the concept. I would have never thought about it until you mentioned it. I really like that. So if people are hearing you and they're like, man, I want to know more about that, or I want to reach out for one reason or another, what's the best way for folks to get a hold of you?
Yeah, so I'm on Facebook, just my name, Instagram, Free Fly Kid, which you'll see because I jump out of planes. And then the startup is called Keep It Simple Storage. It's pretty easy. It's on socials and everything, and also on LinkedIn. So
awesome. Keep It Simple Storage. Reach out to Daniel Schiermeyer. Daniel, I thank you so much for jumping on. I appreciate it. Everybody listening, please share this with somebody you think is going to get some value out of it, especially if they're in the storage space. This would be a great episode to share with them so they can hear a little bit about what's going on both sides, the business and helping them with their storage needs. Please comment below. Let us know what your favorite part was. Thank you again, Daniel. Thank you everybody for listening, and we will see everybody on the next show.